Hello, I'm Matt Jones, and I'm one of a large number of people, as you can see here, material scientists, computer scientists, chemists, HCI people, designers, both in the UK and in India, who've been working on new forms of self-powered light-in, light-out displays. Now, I'm sure, like us, that you've been over time intrigued, fascinated, delighted by shadows and reflections in both the natural and built environments that you've moved through. Great artists indeed have used light, used shadow, used reflection to evoke very, very rich emotional responses. Sometimes architects build in and think about the use of light. This is the new bridge in our copper quarter in Swansea, and the pattern on the floor is a motif of the swan, this being Swansea. Or here in Kew Gardens, this is a wonderful installation, and you can see the lattice shadow that's articulated as the light changes during the day. Some of the shadows that I've encountered are almost interactive displays. So here is one I encountered in a hotel in the north of England. You'll see as I come close to the display, things change. And that's because the shadow is coming from the doors of the hotel. And as I activate the sensor, the display changes. Other forms of interactive shadow displays, though, have been deliberately thought of. So here's a really nice one. I saw this in the windows of Selfridges, the big store in London. And you can see there the playful way of using shadows to get people to interact with some digital material. Now, we've been inspired by things we've seen in our natural environments, but also by the other work that's been carried out on reflections, shadows, and light. Here's a couple of famous examples. Here is Squama, and it's a programmable window. And the window can be changed so that shadows are cast in certain ways, in this case, to protect the fruit from the sunlight. Or here is Shutters, and you can see here the fabric has been changed, deformed, in order to create, in this case, the letter C. So there's been lots of work. So you might be asking yourself, well, what's novel here? Well, you'll need to read the paper in detail to see that mapped out to a full extent. But the key things are, what we've done is to use the light that is coming in to our system to power all of the interactions of the display. So that's the first thing. And we've done some novel changes in terms of how we've used reflections, animations, and the channeling of light. Finally, we've involved both global north and global south design and evaluation perspectives. I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go along. Now, in order to create our concepts and indeed our prototypes, we used a material-centered design approach and drew in these perspectives, the perspectives of places like this, which is Dharavi, which is a huge informal settlement in the center of Mumbai, and indeed in South Africa from townships such as Langa. Now, there's an awful lot of interesting innovation in those places around light. For example, this is the light bottle system, where just by putting a hole in the shack roof and then pushing a bottle filled with water, you can channel light down and provide light into those quite dark spaces. Or here also in India is a piece of artwork. You saw there words collaged across the street. And as the sun falls onto that awning, then the words are articulated along the street walk. So we did a lot of thinking, a lot of bringing in those perspectives. And then we created a set of 3 example prototypes. I'm going to just start this video and show you what we produced. So here is an animation showing a typical township environment in Cape Town. And what we did was to think about how we would use material design to create these 3 example systems. So the first system that you're about to see is called SolarPix. And as you can see, this is a system that uses reflections. The power to generate those changes in those mirrors is being harvested by the solar panel that you can see at the top of the left-hand display. Moving along, as we'll just do now, more quickly, we will see the second prototype, which is called GlowBoard. And GlowBoard is a situated display. The light to generate this output, you can see the number 2 being drawn here, is again harvested. So it's a self-powered display. And the idea is that you would have one of these in one location, you draw your image, and it would be shown on your display and also on the display of someone in another location. The final system I want to show you is called ShadMo. So again, self-powered, and you can see here shadowed animations. And the idea would be that you could change dynamically the image that is being displayed in that setting. And I'll just jump on from here because of time constraints. Now, in terms of evaluation, we had those ideas. We then convened something we'd never done before. And we did it because of COVID, a workshop in both Langer and Daravi. And we asked people to look at our prototypes, to think about the videos, the animations that we've seen a little glimpse of, and to give their own responses. So I'm not going to go into detail here because of time constraints, but all of the materials and the protocols are described in the paper. Many findings, please read the paper. Key ones are that, look, light is a really evocative medium. It's been studied before in HCI, but now is a chance to think about new ways which address both sustainability issues and other sort of crises, the climate emergency, the network power inequalities, and indeed the attention crisis of using things like mobile phones. The things that you can do with light are more expressive potentially, they're slower, they're richer. So I hope you've got a glimpse, a little bit of light of what we've done. To find out more, please read the paper or go to our website, delight.me. This project's been going for a few years now. You can download our papers, download toolkits, build your own systems, go and change the world.